Welcome to Legal Power for You and Me, how having attorneys on your side can change your life forever. Would your life be different if you could use attorneys the same way wealthy people do? Now I know what you're thinking. What does that mean and why would I want to? And I also know why you feel that way. For way too long, most of us have been priced out of the legal system. We get as much justice as we can afford, and for most of us that means no justice at all. I want to share with you a secret that very few people have heard of. The secret of how regular people like you and me can now have access to the kind of top-rated attorneys that up until now have been reserved for only the wealthy. After watching this presentation, you'll have a very good understanding of how having access to attorneys could change your life. All the people that take advantage of us and rip us off because it's cheaper to get ripped off than to get the legal help we need are hoping that you never learn about this secret. Too bad. What follows is a presentation of how having attorneys on your side can make your life better. Enjoy. First problem that we face. Have you ever wanted to know what your rights were when you were dealing with your mortgage company or landlord or the principal at your child's school but had nowhere to turn? Our solution: call your law firm whenever a legal issue arises, talk to an attorney specializing in that area of law, and call them back as much as you want to until you have the complete understanding that you need and deserve without the clock ticking. The next problem: have you ever been in a position where someone took advantage of you, like a contractor, a dry cleaners, or a cell phone company, and there was nothing you could do about it? Our solution: call your law firm for advice, and if they think it makes legal sense, they'll write a letter or make a phone call on your behalf. The reality is that people treat you very differently when you have a 67 attorney law firm on your side. The next problem: have you ever signed a contract and then found out that you made a really big mistake? Our solution: have your law firm review every contract before you sign it. The next problem: has a family member or a friend of yours ever passed away without a last will and testament? What was the impact on their family? Our solution: have your attorneys draft and update your wills every year as part of your membership. The next problem: what do you think would happen to your children if you and their mother or father were killed in an accident? If you don't have a will, the courts decide who raises your children, and your children can go into foster care until the courts make that decision. Our solution: have your attorney draft custody instructions for you and your spouse so that you don't leave this important decision of who gets to raise your children in the hands of a judge. The next problem: what do you think would happen to you and your family if you were involved in an accident and your family had to decide whether to keep you on life support or not? Our solution: have your attorneys draft a health directive for you and your spouse so you don't leave this burden on your family. Next problem: what do you think would happen to you if you were debilitated and no longer able to make decisions for yourself? Who would make decisions for you? And is this the person you want making decisions for you? Our solution: have your attorneys draft a durable power of attorney for you and your spouse, again, so that you don't leave this burden on your family. The next problem: who do you think would do a better job defending you in traffic court, yourself or an attorney? Our solution: get legal advice, and if your issue is defensible, representation in traffic court for moving violations anywhere in the U.S. You must be properly licensed and insured and no drugs or alcohol involved. The next problem: what would you do if your spouse or teenage son or daughter were driving home from work today and the sun was in their eyes and they got into a car accident and killed someone and were charged with something of the nature of vehicular manslaughter? How big is your legal defense fund? Our solution: your attorney's fees would be covered from start to finish if you or they were involved in a fatal accident and no drugs or alcohol were involved anywhere in the United States. The next problem: what would you do if you received a letter from the IRS stating that you owed them $6,000 in back taxes? Our solution: first, call your attorneys immediately upon receipt of the letter and find out how to respond. Then, have an attorney with you if you're audited, and 40 hours of attorney's time if you need to fight the audit in court. The next problem: what would you do if you were hit with a frivolous lawsuit by a parent of a child you coach or teach? Our solution: with this membership, you start your first year with 60 hours of attorney's time covered if you're sued. which increases every year you keep your membership until the 5th year when you have 300 hours. You can inform the parent suing you that you have 60 hours of your attorney's time covered and then ask them how many they have. Next problem. What would you do if you went through a hopefully once-in-a-lifetime issue like bankruptcy, divorce, a child custody or support battle, applying for a green card, or a criminal charge? Again, how big is your legal defense fund? Our solution: for those once-in-a-lifetime legal matters where you need to have an attorney represent you in court that are not covered elsewhere, you receive at least a 25% discount off your attorney's fees. The next problem. What would you do if you were in a traffic accident with a teenage bicyclist late at night, or your teenage son was continually being profiled by the police, or Child Protective Services came to your door on a Saturday afternoon and wanted to interview your child? Our solution: with our service, your whole family has an attorney on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for legal emergencies such as these. Who's covered? Why, the whole family, of course. The member and their spouse or domestic partner, never married children up to the age of 21 that are living at home, never married children up to the age of 23 that are full-time college students, never married children up to the age of 18 that you are the legal guardian of that are living at home, and any physically or mentally challenged children who are dependent on you and live with you, so your whole family. And all the services I just showed you cost $4.25 per week. Can you think of anything you spent $4.25 on this past week that would provide you as much value for you and your family as this $17 legal plan? Now I know what you're thinking. What kind of attorney could I get for $4.25 per week? Actually, you don't just get an attorney. You get an entire law firm for your $4.25 per week. And we pay them a whole lot of money to take very good care of you and your family. For your $4.25 per week, we expect each and every attorney at that law firm to treat you like their #1 client, because you are. Are you starting to get the picture? This is how wealthy people use attorneys. If you want to see what a difference having an entire law firm at your disposal makes, please contact the person who sent you here. We have a simple membership application that takes 5 minutes to fill out. It usually takes 24 to 48 hours to process. That means you could be calling your new law firm in 2 days. What are you waiting for? Thanks for watching. Look forward to talking to you. Have a great day.